Happy Sunday.
Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning. Hello, hello, hello.
Morning, family.
Good morning. Oh, wow. Sabrina, welcome. Good to have you here. All right. So, we are talking about bringing and bridging the gap between spirituality and your money. Or we can call this the money miracle call. I like that. We use A Course in Miracles right here to kind of give some new perspective to the stories and the way that we see the world. And the goal here is peace. The goal is to create peace of mind. A Course in Miracles is not a religious or holy text, it is a self study program, spiritual psychotherapy. But it is better and easier for us to do it in groups. We learn better and in uh, uh in proximity and in relationship with each other. Its thought systems, okay, the teachings itself really leaves no room for confusion or discrepancy. Your own ego and your own illusions actually is what holds you back from being able to understand the course and understand truth, because the ego in every single way is opposite of what the Holy Spirit teaches you. This course itself has um helped me find my path, helped me decipher clearly what is true, and at times help me see what, just for glimpses of what lasting inner peace looks like. And that's the goal. That's the goal here in this course. The course teaches that um, only God really exists, and everything else is an illusion. Everything that and there's really um, two teachers, two thought systems, and they teach the opposite. So you can't actually learn from both. And the fact that the idea or the perception that you can learn from two teachers that teach opposites all the time. There is no time in which they teach the same thing. Okay, we think that we can learn from some. But the reason why we think that is because we decide ourselves what the curriculum of our life is. We decide what we think is best for me and which is best for others. So that requires us to judge. There is a hemisphere of our brain, I think it's the left brain, that is the analytical part. It decides what's good, what I like, what's a good idea, what's a bad idea, what's truth, what's not. And there is uses for your brain, okay? The body, the course says, has its uses, but it is a teaching device. It is not God. It is not. I'm in the US. Welcome. um, so the ego's thought system is based on creating fear and the belief in separation by attacking things, right? So judgment is actually a way to attack things, because judgment is saying God made things this way, but I don't think this is right. I don't think this is good. I don't think this is the path. Whatever you believe, and that puts you in opposition to the truth. And we have to ask ourselves, what is the truth about us? So the Holy Spirit is always reminding us, and is a thought system based on love only, and seeks to not to eliminate illusions, but to show us what is real and what is not real, what exists and what doesn't exist. So it helps us eliminate like useless and meaningless thoughts and judgments, and for us to realize that everything is perfect as it is. Everything is here to help me, to help to create for the greater good. no matter what it looks like in this moment. In this time, in this space, it may look like one thing to me, but that is my own perception of it. And for us to realize that is extremely powerful for us. See, there's a fear of actually letting go of that control. The Course emphasizes that thoughts and feelings only exist as long as one believes in them. I do a live every Sunday and Wednesday morning at 10 a.m. Eastern, and we bring money and spirituality together. We bridge the gap between the material and the spiritual. So the Course's ultimate goal is to help us realize that who we really are, and what is that reality, and all thoughts that we give attention to and what we don't give attention to. And so I want to start today. One of my mentors, he's also in my podcast. He's also in the real estate, the virtual conference I did a couple days ago. Chris DeSanti, he is a teacher, a good brother of mine, a good friend, and he posted this yesterday. And I wanted to start this call today with this read. And it's really the direction of the curriculum. What is it that we are actually doing? What is this curriculum? Okay, because sometimes we forget what it is that we want, right? That's why to be successful, everyone always says, find your why, find your why. And it's no different for this course. Your reason for learning this course, you got to find your why. Your reason for being here today on this call and attending on live anywhere that you are, or listening to the replay of this, you have to find your why, that you even took the time to be here. Right? So this is in chapter 8 of the course. Section 1, the journey back, is the direction of the curriculum. So it begins by saying, knowledge is not the motivation for learning this course. Okay, and we can apply this to everything else in our life. Knowledge is not the reason why I joined to learn multifamily real estate. Peace ultimately is your motivation. It's the peace of mind at the end. It's the financial freedom that ultimately leads closer to peace, hopefully. Right? But we have to be on this journey that we know that peace is what we're doing it for. This is not the prerequisite for knowledge. This is the prerequisite for knowledge. So to gain true knowledge in whatever you're doing, peace, you got to know that peace is the prerequisite to even being able to understand. Only because those who are in conflict are not peaceful. And peace is the condition of knowledge, because it is the condition of the kingdom. Okay, so peace. Remember, peace is what we want. I mentioned this a lot on my calls. Knowledge can be restored only when you meet its conditions. This is not a bargain made by God, who makes no bargains. It is merely the result of your misuse of his laws on behalf of an imaginary will that is not his. Knowledge is his will for you to know who you are, to know what you are. I have told you what knowledge offers you, but perhaps you do not yet regard this as wholly desirable. So we don't want something because we forget that we desire it. This is why to keep peace of mind is what I want, is the reason why I do what I'm doing, is your ultimate why. Because peace leads to true knowledge. True knowledge gives you eternal peace. If you did, you would not be so ready to throw it away when the ego asks for your allegiance. So if we remember that peace is what we want, we wouldn't throw it away so easily. How often do we throw peace away? Right? We get into, one word that somebody says, all of a sudden you're called to war. Right? Because you forget that peace is what you want. Being right or being heard or being in control ends up to be the illusion of what you think you want in this moment. That there's a payoff, that it's valuable to have control right now, right? But peace is ultimately what you want to value, and remember that you value the most. Now, number two, the distraction, we mentioned the ego a little bit. The distraction of the ego may seem to interfere with your learning, but the ego has no power to distract unless you give it the power to do so. The ego's voice is a hallucination, and you cannot expect it to say, you can't expect your dream or the hallucination to say, I am not real. You are not asked to dispel this illusion alone. You are merely asked to evaluate them in terms of their results to you. If you do not want them on the basis of loss of peace, they will be removed from your mind for you. Okay, so if we keep in the back of our mind or in the front of our mind, wherever we have it on our mind every day, if we remember that as we go into conversations, business meetings, interviews, capital raising, whatever you do, knowing that peace is what you want, right? Your agenda isn't let me close you or let me sell you or whatever, let me get this job. Your agenda is peace is what I want. Peace is what I want. And anything that takes peace away, we begin to realize they don't have value for us, right? So if I get angry when somebody cuts me off, I lose my peace. There's no value in this for me. And when we're clear that there is no value, because there is a payoff for getting angry, there's a payoff for getting loud, there's a payoff for getting into conflicts. The payoff is you get to have this false sense of control or to be right about something. And the reason why we actually want control and to be right about something is because there is a part of us that believes we lack in this moment, that we are inadequate, that there is some worthlessness conversation that goes on, that I am not enough, this is not enough. And because of those conversations, okay, all based off the scarcity principles, that there isn't enough time, right? Because in the back of our mind, we all know there's not enough time. That's why we say it. These things actually come out of our mouth. I don't got time for that. Oh, you got time. You got time to be doing this work and doing everything else you're doing and buying apartments and starting businesses, whatever it is that you do. You have the time to do that, and you have the time to sit down and be still and reflect on who it is that you are. That you are not what you've always thought yourself to be, which lacks something. And because of this lacking of something, we can't pinpoint it. We project this lack to others. Okay, we go into relationships hoping that this person is the one that will be our savior. That if I just had this amount of money, that this would be my savior. If I just got this car, this peace of mind will come. This happiness will come. We place it into all these things that the Course calls false idols, and we develop special relationships with them. But all that you could ever want is inside in the world that is in your mind, that you see. That world is not the same world that you see outside right now. The world you see right now outside is a projection of your inner world. And if we look to the outside for idols and to create special relationships on the outside, something will always be wrong. And we will always look to fix something, and that it isn't enough. See, the world isn't enough because we don't think we are enough. And that's why we are in conflict inside, and we look to the conflicts that is on the news. We look to the shooting that just happened in Texas. Okay, all these shootings. This is warring thoughts, okay, stem from us. We allow war to happen. One of the things that I always share is that there is 8 billion people on this planet. 2 billion, okay? A quarter of the freaking world lives on under $2 a day. They make less than $2 a day. If you think about that, if any one of us that's on this call from a more advanced country, think about making $2 a day. Your life would be, you would be like, man, I can't do anything that I do. And yet they still live, yet they still laugh, yet they still play, right? So it isn't that they are on that country is scarce. Those people are scarce. That's why they're not making it. It's because of us. The advanced countries decide that it is okay that we live on $400,000 a day, right? Grant Cardone makes $400K a day. Nothing wrong with it, but that it's okay that some of us can do that while some other people in the world make $2 a day, right? We decide that it's okay. And then it comes down to us as individuals, how emotionally disconnected we are to people that are suffering as well. We've emotionally disconnected from pain and suffering that we see, but we choose things that we can attack because they have more value. Right? We see the things on the news, we blame the government, we attack the head of the federal, the feds. We blame school systems, we blame parents, we blame kids, we blame all sorts of things because we think there's some value in attack thoughts. Okay, so that doesn't need to happen. Every response to the ego, okay, we said that you throw away your peace so easily and join with the ego. Every response to the ego is a call to war, and war does deprive you of peace. Yet in this war, there is no opponents. How interesting. You're called to war, but yet in this war, there are no opponents. This is the reinterpretation of reality that you must make sure to secure peace. And the only one you need to ever make. Those whom you perceive as opponents are part of your peace, which are giving up. You give it up by attacking them. So all these problems and triggers that you also have in your life, they are part of peace. They are part of love. That's why the Course says fear is the opposite of love, but what is all encompassing can have no opposites. So peace and love and these frequencies, they have no opposites. They encompass everything else. In this moment, I may see challenges, I may see triggers, but they are part of your peace curriculum. They are part of your actualization of love. So you give up your peace and you give up this love by attacking these people, by attacking situations. So every time we have an attack thought, if you take nothing from this call today, just remember, by attacking something, you are giving away the one thing that you truly want. In this moment, you just don't see it. You don't see that as peace that you want. You've given value to something else, right? How can you have what you give up? You share to have, but you do not give it up yourself. When you give up peace, you are excluding yourself from it. This is a condition so alien to the kingdom that you cannot understand the state that prevails within it. Your past learnings must have taught you the wrong things simply because it has not made you happy. On this basis alone, its value should be questioned. Right? Every time we have a special relationship and we make salvation of something that is not God or love, it does not give us what we think we want. So just based on that alone, we should reevaluate everything in our lives. We should question the value of getting angry. We should value the question of getting loud. We should value the question of judging, of attacking. We should question the value of it. All right. So if learning aims at change, and that is always its purpose, are you satisfied with the changes what your learning has brought to you? Dissatisfaction with learning outcomes is a sign of learning failure, since it means you did not get what you wanted. But it's ultimately up to you. The curriculum of the atonement is the opposite of the curriculum you have established for yourself, but so is its outcome. So think about it. All of us, have we established a curriculum ourselves? What is we've decided for ourselves what is the purpose of our life? Right? Today it is my kids, tomorrow it is my car, tomorrow it is my business, whatever it is. We've decided that that is our curriculum. And then we go after it. And it seems to always be in a hamster wheel. All our businesses, all our relationships, everything we do seems to be in this hamster wheel, and we just keep running on it our whole lives. But the Course says the Holy Spirit is always there with open arms, waiting for you to make the right decision for yourself. If the outcome of yours has made you unhappy, and if you want a different one, a change in curriculum is obviously necessary. The first change to be introduced is the change in direction. All right. Maybe you're going in the wrong direction this whole time. You're swimming against the current when life is obviously pointing to go this direction. Okay. A meaningful curriculum cannot be inconsistent. If it is planned by two teachers, each believing in diametrically opposite ideas, it cannot be integrated, right? You take Grant Cardone and Dave Ramsey, and you take those two teachings, and you're going to be super confused, right? If one says to have debt and one says not to have debt, how can you learn from two teachers? See, the fact that we think we can learn from two teachers that are diametrically opposite in everything. Okay, imagine they were actually opposites in everything. They're pretty close in what they teach is pretty opposites. If you don't have your own curriculum and you just look at those, you wouldn't know, you would be confused always. Because sometimes you would say, "Oh, I'm going to save." Other times you can say, "Oh, I'm going to invest." And both of those, because you don't have one that you've chosen, there will be an opposite that comes up. There will be something that happens like, "Oh man, I should have listened to this teacher." And then something happens over there, "Oh, I should have listened to this teacher." And back and forth, ping-ponging, we go. And we're like, "Shit, I'm confused as hell. Who am I? Who am I really? What do I even want?" And we don't know what we want, so the frustration gets projected back into the world, into our relationships, and we lash out and attack those that are close to us. We lash out and attack those that we say we love. And then we take back the love, because this special love is basically love you give to somebody on a string. You do something, but you count it. You count this as a point. Ooh, I did this, and then later I'm gonna get this, right? So or I can ask for this now. If I spend enough quality time with her, then we will do this. Then I don't know. There's always some sort of I do this tit for tat, right? Like we just do that all day. And the problem with the ego and the special relationships is what you do always becomes more magnified. Because as you do the boring things, the mundane things over and over again, it requires more energy. It requires more. So you think what you're doing is bigger, and what somebody else is doing for you becomes less. And so, that exchange changes in size for you, in value for you. In the beginning, a simple phone call is good enough for you. In the beginning, just showing up, whether they're late or not, you get so excited for. And then as the relationship goes on, and there's more giving and receiving that's happening, your giving becomes greater. Hey, I took my time out of my day that I do every day in front of the computer, and I spent it with you. That's quality time. But from in the beginning, during the honeymoon stages, you would stop everything you're doing, and that was your offer. And then your offer becomes smaller and smaller. But to yourself, you think the value is bigger and bigger. And this is the special relationship. Special relationship is a line that you draw in the sand and you push it towards them. And this is what the ego does. You push it towards them, and at the second they cross it, it's time. It's war time, right? We're going to go to war. Something's going to happen. We're going to fight. We're going to argue. So it's this line that you've drawn. It's the way that you give. You give with a string attached. If you ever bring it back up, well, I did this, I did that. That's what you're doing. And it's a moment-to-moment practice, because in this moment, I could genuinely want to give because I love so much and I give. But later on, I can look back upon it because that's the only this moment exists. I can decide again, you know what? I did this for you. You should be doing this. So we got to realize the things that come out of our mouth, and we got to determine the value of what we're getting in return. Like, is what I'm saying right now, is my actions in alignment to God? Okay. Our only problem is our disconnection from our source, from our creator, from the universal intelligence. And our only purpose is to find our role that we align to the flow of this intelligence. Okay, there is a will, God's will, that is going down in this world. Okay, it's all playing out always. The only time we lose our peace and we go into conflict is when we are not in alignment to the will itself. When we are not in alignment to the flow, to the energetic flow of the intelligence of the universe, of God. And so there are 3 types of faith, because faith is really the only thing you need to have. In any given moment, having faith, you will not be alone. Having faith, you will have the confidence to move. How do we know what's in flow? Yeah, okay. Talk about that in a sec. What's in flow versus what feels like flow? You will know. You will feel energized. You won't feel tired doing what you're doing. There will be a passion that burns. You'll be doing it like this. I know this is one of my paths because I have so much energy and so much passion. I could not sleep for days and be super tired. And the second hopping on this call, this Christ conscious stamina comes through. And all of a sudden, I have all the energy in the world. We can call upon energy because of our passion, because of the fire. But too many of us have let the world, okay, that this illusion world beat us to our knees, that we settle for much less than what we deserve. Oh, McGenna. Good morning, everybody. So passion and this fire. What is your calling? See, that's the question we should be asking ourselves every day when we wake. What is your calling? Not what is it that's going to make me money today. Money will come at the center of your calling. When you are being your calling and you are doing your calling, money will come. You will figure out a way to monetize it. Because people are attracted to genuine passion and fire. Doesn't even matter what you're talking about. You could talk about artificial intelligence, and because of your passion and fire behind it, if that is what it is for you, right? That's why it's more important to find the energy and the passion behind something, not the something itself. Those are all just different forms of things. But what is it that connects you to something greater? Your passion is the connection between what it is that you do and God. And you bring it in there. You find the thing that that you are called here to do. Everybody has a specific role. Everybody has a specific set of skills that no one else can do what you do. No one else can be you. And if you take that and you recognize what that is every moment, you live into it, you will find your calling and your purpose. And if you don't know your calling in this moment, that's okay. But it's important for us to ask this question more often to ourselves. What is the calling? How do I awaken to my calling every day? Right? Time in this world is our greatest commodity. But we just throw it away. Just like peace. Peace is the thing that we value the most, that we really want, but we've blocked it from our awareness and we throw it away all the time. And this is why I am so passionate about personal development, self-awareness type of work, because that contributes to the success I've created in my life. Being self-aware is actually the greatest gift that I have for myself. And when we can realize for each of us that that is ours as well, that self-awareness is the beginning of success, is the beginning of transformation. Transformation of the inner world will translate out into the outer world. Our inner world controls and runs the world that we see. That's why the world does not need to change, okay? Gun laws, tenant laws, all these regulations that we demand, those laws do not need to change because they don't give us the peace of mind that we think it will when it's changed. Let it play its course. God operates in you just as he operates in everyone. And if you believe that to be true 100% of the times, then there is no change that needs to happen that you think needs to happen, because it's going to happen. Right? The people that are in place that we think are evil, well, they're just not aware in this moment, but God is present in their life always as well. And can you trust that? So the 3 levels of faith that I was mentioning earlier, one is hope. Hope is extremely, extremely strong and great for people that have no faith at all. That I hope that there is a God out there. I hope that he has my back. I hope that the good comes out of the things that I do. I hope it. I hope that it happens. Hope has many holes. Hope can be changed. You can change hope to hopelessness. Things in the world can beat you out of hope. Right? And then there is faith. Faith is, yeah, I believe. I am a believer. I believe God operates in my life. I believe God is looking out for me. And I believe that all good is going to come. I believe it. Okay. Still has some small holes. That's why our faith gets challenged all the time. Then there is the knowing. The knowing is with absolute certainty that I know when I pray for something once, it's already done. That God is out there with absolute certainty in my life, around everything in this world, around everything that I see. I know with absolute certainty he is there. That means in the midst of the most chaotic, triggering moments in my life, I know God is right there as well. And our journey is a journey of going from hopelessness to hope to faith to knowing. That is your journey. That is everyone's journey. That is it. Everything else is form. What you do at your job, what you do with money, how you interact in this world, those are all forms of things, and they're all teaching devices. That is the purpose of those things. The purposes of teaching devices, including your body, is to show you where peace is not. Okay? If you say peace is what I value the most and this is what I want, then God's going to show you with all the learning devices around you where peace is not for you, where you get to look at it. Just had a funny thought. So our journey is going from hopelessness. Actually, there is hopelessness and we've surrendered, not surrender. We've given up on a lot of things in our lives. Okay. If you're older, you might say, I've given up on all these other things because I'm too old. If you're too young, you give up on all these things because I'm not good enough. They're all different forms of the same not enoughness. There's the hopelessness. But moving on to hope, then moving to faith, then moving to knowing. Knowing the faith part, this level 3 of faith, this knowing brings you peace now. And I mentioned this last time, somebody asks, what's the outcome of this world, right? What is that? And then I ask, what's the outcome of dreaming? Is waking up, right? There's a waking up process. If we had knowing, okay, it's not just faith that, oh, when I die, I hope I go to heaven. When I die, I hope this happens. There's a knowing that you are returning home, that you're waking up. The knowing of that brings you instant peace now for anything else that could possibly show up in your life in this world. The knowing a happy outcome is coming, that a happy ending is here for all of us. The knowing of that makes the journey peaceful. Oh, wow. Look, I just lost $100,000. Cool. Right? Can you do that? Think about that for a second. Right? Really put yourself into those positions in your mind. You can go through the actual emotions and make yourself believe something. This is why affirmations and gratitude and these things work, because the more you give energy to a thought, because none of this shit is the truth. It's all perspectives. Okay? The more energy and the more time you affirm these ideas, the more real they become, and they become your truth, which is truth with a lowercase t. Truth with a capital T is unalterable, and you have no decisions over it. Can we align to truth with a capital T? That's going to come from realizing that peace is what I want, and that's going to come from asking yourself every day, what the hell is my calling? What is it? What is going to have me set the world around me on fire because of how passionate I am? And everyone's going to be drawn around to watch this flame, to watch the display of you doing whatever it is that you're doing. And you're completely unaffected by anyone else's judgments because you are just in this fire. You are in your passion. Doesn't matter what other people say. Okay, where was I? Okay, back to finishing this section. So we said if wait, what? Oh, a meaningful curriculum cannot be inconsistent. If it is planned by two teachers, each believing in diametrically opposite ideas, it cannot be integrated because it's freaking confusing as hell. Oh, hey, Marlene. It cannot be integrated. If it is carried out by these two teachers simultaneously, each one merely interferes with the other. This leads to fluctuation, but not to change. The volatile have no direction. They cannot choose one because they cannot relinquish the other, even if it does not exist. Their conflicted curriculum teaches them that all directions exist and gives them no rationale for choice. That's kind of like what we do. We just run in this hamster wheel because we don't know why we keep choosing the same relationship, why we keep choosing the same boss, why we keep having the same outcome of having no money in our bank accounts. Why is the same thing happening over and over, even though we're doing something that seems to be different? That you could be working minimum wage or working or being a professional athlete and both experiencing the same paycheck to paycheck, that there is still not enough because the world is full of shiny objects and money is not the concern here. And when we realize that career versus calling, I will go after the calling every single time and money will take care of itself. See, that requires a knowing that it's going to happen. When we're about to make that transition, and sure, ask your question in there. If you choose, okay, your calling, do you just hope it's going to work out? Do you have faith it's going to work out? Or are you in the absolute knowing it's going to work out? Because that's three very different types of come froms, and they will generate different results for you. Okay, if you pray for something today, and if you know that if it's for the greater good, it's going to come for you, you pray it once and you're done, knowing it's coming. But if you pray for it today, then you pray for it tomorrow, then you pray for it every single day, all that it is showing is that you don't have that level of trust, that you simply hope it's going to happen. And if you pray for it more, then the ego is like, ooh, this is something that he's not sure of. He's unsure. Let's test it out. Let's create more things that are not of the prayer, right? That is opposite of it. And that's what we call forth into our life. I don't want to have this happen again. And then and why does the same shit keep happening over and over? Because you're unclear and your level of trust is not there. That's why we tiptoe. When opportunities come, we tiptoe in there. The whole tiptoeing is the reason why you create the outcome you create over and over again. And you think tiptoeing is what you should do. You should be more cautious next time. I'll tiptoe even a little bit. I'll tiptoe more. When opportunities come, you got to run through that damn door. You got to run through it and be like, what's the opportunity? Where is it? Right? Be excited about knowing that regardless if you run through this door, God runs through that door with you. See, you don't just run through it and I hope it works out. No, you know it's going to work out because it doesn't matter what happens on the other side of that door because God's there with you. This is exactly wherever you run to, it is exactly where you're supposed to be. So those are the three levels. And all we have to do is ask ourselves every time, do I know with absolute certainty that I'm supposed to be right here, right now, in this moment with this room of people? Or am I here like, I don't want to be here. I don't know if I should be here. I don't know if I should take this job. Right? All these uncertainties. The uncertainties produce a certain outcome. That's it. It's not because of the job. It's not because of the person. It's not because of this or that. Uncertainties produce certain types of outcomes, and certainties produce certain types of outcomes. And that's it. When an opportunity comes, you either run through the door or you don't. But pick one. The tiptoeing back and forth is what keeps you confused, is what keeps you in the same place. An opportunity comes, you'll run through the door and, it didn't work out the way that I wanted to work out. But you don't know. You don't know why you ran through that door. God knows. But when you judge it, what's going to happen is, it didn't work out this time. And you can't see the miracles that are around you all the time because you're in God's chair. You're on the throne. So you can't see the miracles that God put around you. So you run through the door and you only see that, I didn't make the money that I thought I was going to make. I didn't end up in the relationship that I thought I wanted to be in. And my heart's broken now. You run through that door. And then the next time that door comes, you tiptoe. I'm not reading anything. Yeah, and you tiptoe through, and because you tiptoe, you create the outcome of uncertainty for yourself. Right? So whether it's an investment or a loving relationship, all we have to do is look at the 3 different levels of trust in which we operate our life from. Am I here from a place of hope, or is it faith, or is it knowing? Right? Knowing. And then we also recognize, if peace is what I want, am I participating in conflict? Right? When conflict shows up in my life, I must have participated in it. If I see it, it's coming from a world inside me. It must be real for me first. The world inside is real, and then we project it out into the world, and then we bring it back. Good morning, Annika. Okay, so I'll pause there for a second. So there's some questions that are popping up, and if you guys on Zoom, thanks, Jessica. You can unmute yourself, ask the question. If you're on Instagram, feel free to also post your comments. Yeah. So I'll take a pause right there for a second. I just went on a rant for 52 minutes. From Tampa, hey Shirley. Yeah. And here's the thing, whatever part that you end up seeing, and thank you for being here this morning, Shirley, is exactly it's exactly what you're supposed to hear, what you're supposed to witness. So anybody, what are you guys hearing? What are your nuggets? What are you taking away? What questions, what clarity do you need?
Miguel, good morning.
Good morning.
I am logging in from a cell phone, so I don't know if my name is showing up. I'm showing up anonymous today, which is awesome. Yes, I love these rooms, Alex, and the fact that people are entering this space at different times and it's flowing the way it's supposed to flow. And I absolutely agree with you. And I think about this all the time. Every time I went for a job interview, even when I couldn't speak English up to 20 years, fast forward in this country, I always wondered why. What was it that I did wrong? I guess I wasn't qualified for the job, or I guess the interviewer didn't like me and didn't want to give me that opportunity. But this entire time, all those stops that I thought were stops were actually blessings in disguise, because when I would be in presence of another opportunity, much bigger and better, I was always in that moment, aha. And then you feel like God or the universe, the source, is winking at you. And deep down, we know that we're not supposed to be, but because we feel the need for that next job that pays us a little bit more, we want it so bad, or we want to go so bad at this event, or meet that other person so bad. But how about we all take a moment to pause, not stop, and embrace and honor ourselves first, and allow every single person that's in our presence at that given moment to get to know them better, and forget for a second the true reason why we think we are at that event, why we think we deserve that job. Because I bet you all here, and I'm not a gambler, but I bet you all here that if you go back in time when you were refused that job opportunity, or that business partnership, or even buying that multifamily space, look back and think where you are right now and where you would be if you ended up in that job. I promise you all that you wouldn't change it for anything in the world, because look where we are. Like, we are in these intimate spaces, we got to know each other better, and we are in positions that we feel a lot happier. And yeah, just want to leave you guys with a thought that never question what's not happening at present time, because you'll find out shortly enough or soon enough that the universe has other plans for us, and maybe we're being tested, maybe we are being gifted, or a combination of both. But I always have the attitude, it's okay, it wasn't meant to be, because something else is happening and it's bigger and it's better. And I smile and I move on, and it's so peaceful. So just wanted to share that with you all.
Yeah. So that's amazing. You know, that's why I created my podcast called That Changed My Life, because I wanted to show people points in these people's lives where it changed their life for the better. You know, and that when we look at, if we're in tough times right now, we're struggling right now, we can look at this moment and have the knowing, right? The knowing, not just hope, right? But the knowing that this is meant to happen for me, to show me my greatness, to help me get closer to be in the vicinity of my calling. Because something has to not work out to show you that, hey, you got to go in the other direction, right? You might have stepped on something and it pricked your foot, and you're like, oh, never walking again. That's what we come down. That's what we go to. We walk down one street and we hurt our foot or whatever, and then we never walk again. We're like, I'm never walking again. Instead of just being like, oh, okay, well, it's helping me go in the other direction. I just won't go that way. All right. It's instead of seeing everything neutrally, and trusting, right? This trust actually gives you trust gives you all, like, your capacity, really. Like, all of us are limited in limiting ourselves because we don't have this full knowing. We don't step into every space with full confidence, knowing that God walks here with me. You know, and Shirley had asked on Instagram, what about all the mass shootings? And this it always comes down to this types of stuff. And that's why I bring it up all the time on these calls too, because she said, does the mass shootings take away our ability to love, or our capacity to love? It's actually the opposite. Can you see love, and can you find love in those moments? Now, love is compassion. Love is understanding. Love is love. Love is caring, right? But not in a form of punishment, but in a form of, I pray for the peace of these people, you know, of everyone that is involved. Because in this moment, I'm sure it is extremely hard for them to see any peace, that they are probably in the punishment mode, right? They're probably in a space of, I'm going to punish. Somebody needs to take account. Somebody needs to be put on death row. Not just the kid, okay, that did the mass shooting, but also their parents, somebody, and then the government. Then we put everybody up. And then we just generate more and more anger for us. But anger is a cover of sadness. Anger comes from sadness. Sadness is overcome by love. By recognizing love. By recognizing you are, someone said it's the government. Damn government. If they just stopped gun violence or nobody should own any guns, then we'll probably then we'll be at peace. So anger is a cover for sadness. Sadness is overcome by love. Right? By the love, by the compassion. So the mass shooting that happens, for each one of us, you have to ask, what is it for? Not for the world, but for me. Why am I witnessing it right now? What is this anger that I feel about? Right? What is it all for? Right? So when we, just like what McGenna said, when we go into a space and we don't recognize that it's for us, that it's all happening for us, the fear thoughts, the worries, the judgments, the attack thoughts, they block miracles. They block the awareness of miracles. Miracles are happening around us all the time. Miracles are opportunities for you to step into love, into peace. Peace is waiting for you right here on the other side of this mass shooting that just took place. But if you go into this is a problem, that's a problem. See, it's the warring conflict in our minds right now. An extension of this causes war in the world. All right? Think about it. When we have problems like this, and when we have this attack thoughts in our mind, when we have these conflicts in our mind, when we are uncertain and we don't have this trust, we might not even have hope. We don't have hope, faith, or trust, and we're just here in this unknown, right? We're uncertain about anything. It takes one little push for you to lose your shit. Now, we're all at different places of losing our shit, and it comes out in different forms. Somebody might lose their shit and just shut down and go into their room and be quiet. Other people might lose their shit and lash out and get loud and punch walls and whatever. And then other people will lose their shit and take guns out and do things. Right? So it really just, they're all different forms. Now, somebody like Hitler was in a position to lose his shit and declare war on the world. They're all different forms of the exact same conflict that rests within you now. That's why if you want to change the world, end the conflict for yourself. But to end the conflict, you have to see that conflict does not have value for you. You are holding on to conflict. You are holding on to the I don't know. I'm oblivious to what's going on. There is value in holding on to that for you. You have to recognize that the results of it is not what you want, and the value itself is gone. The value of conflict is gone. My friend just killed his wife and shot himself last Friday. I don't know what is going on. Yeah, the conflict, this war, it's for us. It's not about what's going on in the world. It's where is it in me that I have war happening as well? What is this showing me? Right? People are suffering so much that they'd rather not be here anymore. Right? They'd rather not be here because this reality is a freaking nightmare. It's a nightmare because nothing that we go after gives us what we thought it was gonna. We get into a relationship. If this person is the one, and the one is causing me a whole ton of stress. But it's not. It's you just walked into this relationship with confusion and you brought it. You brought the conflict. And it's the same thing in the world. So everything and every moment is either love or a calling for love. Until you've changed your mind and see that I not only believe in love, but I believe in love only. That's what you got to tell yourself. My friend Betty is constantly knocking me over here. It's like, I'm so confused. Yeah, it's confusing because there is two teachers. We have two thought systems that don't teach the same thing. So it's confusing. In this world, okay, that we live in right here, there is this world that is happening, but there is another world if you died. At least we think there's another world. At least this world ends, right? So if anything that you believe about this world, about the value of what you will get from a special relationship, okay? What value you think you can get from quitting your job to having more money to having the relationship of your life, those things are not going to give you what you want. Peace is what you want, but they cause, because of what you brought into it, your peace gets lost and you blame it on the other thing, but it has nothing to do with the other things, the other people. It's just you. And then we think we can go on vacation and go to the other side of the world and our problems will be gone, or we can get another job and our problem will be gone, or we'll get into a different relationship and our problems will be gone. But we just do the same thing over and over again because wherever you go, there you are. Everything is love. I only believe in love. It's a beautiful experience. Yeah. You know, because the ending of a life, see, when we also, the course teaches that the first and the last lesson that you will learn is that I am not this body. At some point in your life, you will have to decide that this is your learning, that is the final lesson. Whether it's before you die or you can do it before, but it takes constant remembering, right? Affirmation. You're in Vegas. Okay, we got to hang out. I'm going to call you after this. Yeah. You know, and thank you, Shirley. Thanks for being here. You know, it brings me happiness to see your name pop up and everybody else that is part of it. You know, there's Facebook messages right now, there is YouTube messages, there is Zoom, there's Instagram. You know, technology gives us an ability to share our message. But then what is our message? Right? What is it? What's our message? What's your calling? Okay, what like lights you up? And if it does not light you up, go do something else. Find the thing that is going to light you up. Remove money from the equation. Money is going to come when you are living in the center of your calling. Okay, it is very easy in today's day when you can make an impact in people's lives, when people want to come around and watch the flame that is your passion, you can start charging money for it. And social media and all this stuff makes it easier than ever to do. And when you're living inside that calling, there will be people that will come to attend and watch. Antoine, welcome. You always bring great questions and you always bring great conversations. You spark awesomeness on this call. So welcome. All right. Any other questions? Any other thoughts? You know, so again, just to reiterate what I said before is, you know, the worrying and the attack thoughts and all of these things, they are the blockages to miracles happening around you today. It's flowing around you. Only when you access love will you be able to see them. When you see love in the presence of where you once chose conflict, there will be miracles that you will recognize. But like our body has our ego, our busy mind has created this filter for us that we can't see or hear 99% of the things that happens around us. We can't. Maybe even 100%, because it's simply a projection of what's real for me inside. Right? If I believe that the government is wrong, that the government should not be doing what they're doing, I will find all the conflicts and all the problems with it. And I can't see the good. And it's the same thing in your life. Same thing in your life. Do you focus on gratitude? Right? Because here is the law of expansion, the law of energies is that you give more power to it, it becomes more real. So if I do gratitude practices every day about my life, the grateful moments of my life, go looking for trouble. The grateful moments in my life, if I can identify them every day, every moment, it magnifies those things. And then I realize, wow, my life is great. I focus on the things I can be grateful for, and my life is great. And because my life is so great that everything in my past, my traumas, my stories have led me to this grateful moment, that means the gratitude and the love of that takes over those things in my past. And the past stories and the past traumas transmutes and transforms into love, into the gratitude of your life in this moment. Elena, yeah, thank you. It's the first time seeing you here. So, thank you for blessing us with your presence and witnessing this conversation this morning. iPhone 2. Anonymous iPhone 2. You have your hand up. Feel free to share. 2 p.m. Bellagio. Whoever is iPhone 2, feel free.
Hey, Alex.
Hey.
Lenka.
Hello.
Hi. Well, am I iPhone 2?
Yeah, you're iPhone 2.
Good morning.
Good morning.
This is so fascinating. Of course, listening to you, and I've always been politically involved, campaigns. You know how everything is and what I've talked about in my past, and so how appropriate and perfect is it that Marianne Williamson, who teaches A Course in Miracles, is like literally right in the thick of what causes so much stress and takes away my peace. So I'm watching her and I'm learning from her. And, a couple of things that I'm noticing right off the bat is when she brings up issues, she does not ever mention a person. She doesn't ever malign any individuals. But you just mentioned a few minutes ago, if you look for something wrong in the government, that is her platform, right? The way everything is set up creates disease in us, which I love how she's subtly trying to tie in A Course in Miracles. But I've never seen her lose her peace, maybe a little bit right at the moment, but I guess I'm just sharing that I'm going to be paying close attention to see how she navigates this, because it definitely, I hope it can show me a way to exist in this political world I so like to be involved with without it losing my peace and without me seeing just the negatives. But actually looking for the positives. And I was just mentioning she was being interviewed. She was on C-SPAN being interviewed, and a caller called in, and he sounded kind of gruff, and he's like, I'm just here to tell you that you aren't going to win. You're not going to win anything talking about all this love stuff, all this foo-foo love stuff. And it's a sign of weakness, and like Donald Trump, you got to talk in simple terms and you got to say it like it is. And her response was just so lovely. I think I saw her lose her peace a little bit, but she still came back and said, I would argue that love is the most ultimate in strength, and inciting fear is weak. And it was just such a great response. So anyway, I just wanted to share that.
Yeah, and here's the thing. When we watch her closely, know that she is a sister in a body form and will experience human emotions and will lose her peace. The Course says you will not find your everlasting peace in this lifetime. What you will find is moments that spark you, moments that will help you remember. But she's playing a big game, and there is shit happening around her all the time and attacks coming all the time. She's going to lose it. But there will be, if we're looking for the moments in which she is great, we will find it too. But if we're looking for the moments where she loses her peace, we will find that as well. Okay, so she's awesome. Like, I'm a big fan of her. This is the only time I ever get involved in politics, and I donate and I like all her comments and I talk about Marianne Williamson. I do my part in that. That's it. I'm like, hey, look at all my Marianne Williamson books. I put people onto Marianne Williamson. I will vote. I will actually go and vote for her. Other times I'm just like, too lazy to vote. And some people are like, oh, but your vote matters. Yeah, I know it matters on some extent. Doesn't matter to my own peace of mind, though. Right. So that's all that matters, really, is can you do things, do it, don't do it, don't do it with peace of mind. All right. If you don't have peace, then you got to look at what is it about that. So yeah, she's been awesome. She's been traveling around, and it's cool because she goes to college campuses and speaks to the youth. Like, more than she does like, these big parade things. Yeah. Politics are just another form, and it's just another form of things that people get occupied doing. Okay. Thank you, Lenka. It's so good to have you here. I don't know. I feel like I never see you here. Maybe you're just disguised an iPhone 2 every time.
I must be. Because I'm listening.
Oh.
I'll have to figure that out.
Okay, great. Antoine, go ahead, brother.
So you hit me with 3 big buzzwords earlier, and I just wanted to slow you down on that a little bit. You mentioned transmutation. You mentioned the law of expansion, and before you answer this, before I actually get to some questions, I wanted to testify that I have just recently read the book The Secret, still finishing it up. And I've applied it. So I want to testify to what you're saying in the sense that in the past, I'll go to work, I'm an IT guy, my systems are falling apart, and I'll lose my shit. And I'm just like, why me today? Except, I just like, the world is falling apart. But after reading The Secret, I'm like, no. Okay, you have to apply gratitude to everything. This problem happening to you right now, it's for a reason. If you were to be grateful, how would you attack the problem? And when I started thinking like that, I just calmed down. I'm like, okay, there's a blessing in here. There's something good in this situation. And long story short, my mind just calmed down. I logically looked through the problem. I dove into it. I got the right people involved, solved the problem. 24 hours later, I'm in front of my directors explaining things like I'm a subject matter expert. I got great visibility. I'm like, shit, this thing works. Whereas in the past, I'd be like, upset. I'm, flaring. I just losing. It's just, not me, right? So just wanted to testify to that. Now it works. I believe it works. But the question was, is there actually a natural law behind that? This thing about gratitude. My understanding so far is that, being a Christian, they say glorify the Lord, give him glory for all his creation. You look around, all the beauty, all the things that you're seeing. I used to say, I used to give glory to God. Now that I understand gratitude as well, I'm like, wait a minute, is this the same thing? Right? But anyways, I'm searching for if there's a law behind this thing, and you mentioned law of expansion.
Yeah.
I know I rambled a lot.
Yeah. So one of your only problems is that separation is real for you. See, the glory to God, glory to yourself, glory to my sister, glory to my wife, it's all this expression of the same thing. It's all glory to love. Right? So the separation part is what creates confusion for us. Oh, wait, it's this person, or it's that person, or it's God, or it's this, or it's that. Like, God is a separate person from you, right? not of you. All right. So when you bring the separation back to unity, that's the part of it. And when you also said earlier about the gratitude, like just the energy of gratitude itself produces something. It's not about, the ego goes into the form. Oh, it's gratitude to this, gratitude to that, gratitude to me, to God. It's all the same. How about just focus on gratitude? The energy of gratitude, and what it brings for you inside, right? What does gratitude energy manifest for you? What is the result of that? That's, I think, where you want to get into. And the experiences you have at work, right? That is it's not real. See, this is why it's all an illusion. When you're at work, one day you can have one way that you solve a problem, and that's how you've always done it. And then you see this as annoying, and then all of a sudden the next day it's done differently, and then some different results happen. You're like, ooh, now it's fun. Now I welcome these challenges, right? So, for example, somebody in our mastermind was talking about how she hates her W-2 job, she hates her work, and we had a call yesterday, or was it the day before, that we talked about how we're creating a fund, and it's important to find out how institutions receive their pitches and what they go after and what they say yes to. I'm like, you are our new secret weapon. You work right there with pension funds and all that. And you guys get pitched every day. Now she's extremely excited to go back to work, to learn all these things, to create those relationships. See, there's purpose. So what changed from yesterday to today about the experience of their job, of her job, of her W-2? And it is literally the changing of your mind. That's why the experience that we have is not dictated by the job itself. It is dictated by our mindset around it. And this is why the transformational work, and you talked earlier, Antoine, you're talking about a paradigm shift for yourself. The way that you used to handle certain situations, you handled it differently. And then a different result happens. Like, wow, I actually prefer this result. Now you're having a paradigm shift because you're collecting evidence that responding with love and trust actually results in acknowledgement. It results in abundance and more love and all of that. So it's the changing of your perception. And that's why everything that I do, I spend majority of the time working on the mindset around it, not the doing of it. When I teach multifamily and in our program, like, it isn't just about how to do multifamily, because the how to do it is extremely easy. It's 5%, 3%, but it's the way in which you bring yourself to those things and why you're doing it and how you handle conflicts and challenges, right? Not just how you handle it, how do you even view challenges? Right? Those are all things that it happens in your mind, because you can have a different experience around things that you're learning. So it's up to you. So thank you for that. Annika, go ahead. Welcome. You gotta unmute. Okay. Yeah.
Maybe can you touch up on transportation or law of expansion?
The law of expansion.
Yeah, you mentioned it earlier.
Yeah. So
is that like magnifying situations, giving energy, or is it something else?
Yeah. So if you give, the law of expansion in the course is literally the idea, any ideas that you have about yourself, about your work, about love, about acceptance, about your judgments. If you are in more fear thoughts or more loving thoughts, what you give more attention to grows in your mind and becomes real for you. And from that space, whatever is real on your inside world, if it's conflict, you will not understand anything that's happening. You will just create conflict. If it's trust, then you can see mass shooting at a school and still be able to trust. Right? So it's what you give attention and energy to. That's why we do gratitude practices only to help our inner world. Nothing else needs our gratitude. We need our gratitude, right? It changes in our inner world, because from our inner world, we project out into the world that we see. Now, most of us, because we're not connected to our inner world, we look at the world outside, and what happens outside, we blame the world outside for the experience I experience. It becomes what I perceive is dictating my experience around it, right? And so instead of, oh, I'm experiencing this pain, I'm experiencing this restlessness, this confusion because I'm confused inside. But what am I confused about? Right? That becomes the question we got to ask. What am I confused about? What am I angry about? And then every time we want to go into, because the clearest and the best way to do it is look at and just do it with your partner. Do it with people that are closest to you in your life. Anytime you experience happiness or sadness, see where you put it. Rarely do we say, man, I'm so happy because I'm alive today, because I'm me, because I'm here. We say, I'm happy because this deal came through. I'm happy because I got paid. I'm happy because this was done for me. There's always something outside. And then when I'm upset, when I'm sad, it's rarely I'm sad because I'm experiencing and choosing sadness things. I'm focusing on things that are sad. We don't want that responsibility. So we say, I'm sad because this thing happened outside. I'm sad because of that happened. I'm upset because this didn't happen the way that I wanted to happen. I preferred at my job. I'm upset and I'm disappointed because this person didn't live up to my expectations. Yeah, your expectations. Nobody will live up to your expectations, because your expectations is like this. Here's your expectations. Here's people. And anytime somebody goes up, your expectation goes up with it. It's always just a little bit ahead of what people, because that's how the ego works. You're not enough. So your expectation is a projection of other people not being enough. Right? So this you're not enoughness, if I see that, I got to bring it back to myself. Where am I not enough? And then where did I choose to value not enoughness? And that attack is appropriate in this moment. And if I chose it, I must forgive myself first. I forgive myself for choosing something that is not valuable to me, that did not give me the outcome that I wanted. And because I forgive myself, I can let it go, and I can forgive the world for what they did not do to me. See, that's forgiveness. Forgiveness is, I forgive you for what you did not do that I thought you did to me. That's forgiveness. Forgiveness isn't, I forgive you for what you did to me. It's super fucked up, but I'm going to be bigger and better. And, because I want to be better, I forgive you. That does not forgive that moment. It's saying, yes, that moment still exists, and I just want to be beyond it. But see, the wrongdoing is still there. That means it's not forgiven. Forgiven is, you didn't do to me what I thought you did. Let's try and forgive people in that way. Yeah, of course. You don't need to spend your time with people. You are in your mind anyways. Spending time physically with somebody and spending time in your mind with somebody is really the same thing. To you, like, of course, have fun if you're going to spend in physical contact with someone. Yeah, you don't need to. You can do work around love and forgiveness and all that without somebody in your physical space. You can do forgiveness work without it. Right? And oftentimes we are you trolling me, Betty? Is that what you're doing? She goes, "Don't raise your voice." She's seen my past of my angry self when I got angry and things like that too. So thank you for witnessing my past and witnessing me now. So Brooke, this I forgive but not forget. What are you not forgetting? That they did something wrong to you, that they did something. So technically, it's just another way we let ourselves off the hook, like of because there is value to you for holding what somebody did to you. Right? There's value to holding on to that, to the blame, to the guilting somehow. And that's why we have to look within ourselves to see where that value, there is no value. And when we truly come to with ourselves that there is no value in holding on to it, it will be gone. You can let it go. So we're coming to the end of this call. Does anybody have any more questions, comments, thoughts? Annika, you still have your hand up. It's hard to forget.
Yes.
Oh, okay. Sure. Ask. Or sure.
Hi.
Hi.
Did you call my name before?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Can you hear me? Okay. Well, something you had this like crazy experience happen, and I heard someone say about disease in the body, and I just wanted to share this kind of breakthrough I had, where I've been in this situation for 2 years that I knew from the beginning that this wasn't right for me, and I could tell Spirit being like, you have to get out of this, and I wasn't listening, and I wasn't paying attention. I kept letting my ego tell me, what I think it should do. And I'm hearing my body tell me, like, if you don't get out of this, you're getting cancer. Like, my body was feeling heavy. I tried to run and I felt like my legs were made of cement. And I decided to finally like break free from it. And this whole like cloud has been lifted up. I feel light, like I feel clear. I went from having these like dark thoughts and being bitter and like not being able to be kind, like not feeling like kindness towards the world and jaded, and like all this love is present. And I just find that really interesting. And it just goes to show that, your intuition and spirit is always right. Energy doesn't lie. And anyone that's going through these kinds of things, I want to tell people like, oh my God, like listen to yourself. It's so powerful. And I decided to share this. Some things that you were saying just kind of really were in alignment with what I'm experiencing.
Yeah. And that's why we say it's like, it's okay to remove yourself from things that you don't yet have the capacity to give love to, right? Like you try, but it's darkening your thoughts and things like that, and you're darkening your inner world because it's like it seems to be blocking the light. It's okay to, in this platform, move away, in this world that we're in, to move away from it so that you can have some clarity. You can invite more things in your life, but it presents you because it will travel with you. This story of it will travel with you until you heal it, right? There is this dark energy, right? The dark energy. Let me transmute it. When I have come to a recognition that this dark energy was for the purposes of my healing, then I've healed my perception of this dark energy as well.
Ooh, and I feel so healed. Like, I had an intense experience. I did ceremony with Dylan yesterday. So it's kind of where it all came out. And I got crystal clear. on everything that's been happening. And I'm like, oh my God, I had to go through hell. And I see so clearly, and I'm done. I'm healed. So whatever this like bullshit that I felt like I needed to experience, even though I was like, this isn't healthy for me, I really had to experience it. And I feel healed now.
Mhm.
I feel truly like clear and healthy of like what relationships I'm going to choose next. And too, a lot of it was like, I was raised to think that, oh, I just have to be nice to people and give compassion, when I realized, like, you know, I need compassion for myself first and foremost.
Mhm.
So, yeah. I
Yeah.
got on the call a little late, but I wanted to share that. And
It's beautiful. No, thank you. You know, and it's a reminder. See, now you have a story, like you're healed in this moment from that experience and those thoughts. But it's a reminder, right? It's kind of like a light that sparked inside you, and you can use this reminder to heal other areas of your life, other illusions that we carry with us. You know, we can do that, and we can forgive more of the things in our past because we take this reminder, right? You just had a great experience, especially in a ceremony like that. Like, let it integrate into more things into your life. You know, there's
I
a
was living in a space of regret for a long time, of
Yeah.
like regretting my past. And now it's really coming into light of like, okay, I'm happy all this happened.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome. That's beautiful. And with that being said, we flipped to a chapter of Marianne Williamson's A Year of Miracles. And so this one is dedicated to you and to everyone that is witnessing and here today. And as we wrap up this call, I just want to say thank you all very much for being on this journey with me, you know, like sharing this moment with me. Whatever that looks like, this moment was shared and I appreciate it. Day 81. Only in my mind does the past exist. Only in my mind does the past exist. Today, I atone for the errors of my past and forgive others for theirs as well. Thus, I am free of the consequences of wrong minded thought and action. Today, I dwell in the eternal present. In any moment, I am free to restart my life. I am not held back by the mistakes of my past as I atone for them in my heart. Freeing myself from the chains of the past, I free the future to be unlike it. May the love in my heart today interrupt the patterns of the past. I release the future as I release the past. Knowing love will make all things right. Dwelling fully in the present, I release both the past and the future to a higher place. Amen. I hope.
Amen.
Thank you, everybody.
Amen. Thank you, Alex.
All right. Have a great day, everybody.